Hey everybody, I'm a little bit late. I'm organizing a lesson for you right now, and I'll do that while I'm waiting for people to come on board. First, let me get the chat. See if we got that up here somewhere. No, we don't. Okay, so go to bookmarks, go to go to CreatiVets, go over here, up, and we'll get that chat thing going here. There we go. Hooray! All right. All right, put that over here where it belongs. Okay. All right. Now I'm just almost done with putting I'm putting a file together that I'm going to send you to this, and I'm going to give you the link for it in a minute. So I'm almost done with it. So just let me finish it up here. Almost done. Let's see. We just have to go one more. I think there's just one more. Yeah. Okay, good. Get that. And we'll... Oh, wait. I'm going to have to turn this around. Well, that's all right. I'll put it in the document first. Hold on. Copy. And then we're going to paste that down here. So we got 8 and 9. Okay, let's move 8 down here. It's kind of I'm kind of doing this juggling act. Kind of doing a juggling act here. 7. We're going to put this one on. We're going to put this one on here. Hold on. There's 8. And I don't think we need this anymore. We can take this out. We will delete that one because I think we have that up here, don't we? 6. Brainstorming, right? 6. And then we're going to move this one. Almost done. I've been studying one of the songs that took me the longest time to write, and I thought I would take you through it. Come on. I would take you through it, so 8, and then finally 9. Okay. And then we got nothing below there, so we will do this, and then we will do this and this. There we go. And now save that. Okay, 9, 8, 7, 6. Brainstorming. 5, 4, 3, 2. Oh, let's get that one. Almost done. We'll do this. We'll do this. Okay. Almost there. Almost there. Okay, save that. Now, I'm going to put this document, in my file, in my I'm going to go on Chrome here. Go on Chrome. And we're going to put this in my documents. It is 1 o'clock, okay. Don't see anybody yet chatting. Let's see, we're going to go to, let's open up a new one. Let me open this up wider for a minute. Let me do this, a new doc, and then we'll go to apps. We'll go to Google Drive, My Drive, and there's CreatiVet live stream. Good. We'll open this one up. Okay, good. Now we're going to drag in that. We're going to drag in this new document. We're going to go to, come on, go over here, and we're going to go lesson, there it is. And we're going to drag this into here and drop it. And there it is. Okay, good. All right, we're getting there. Now, make sure that's all there. Okay, we're going to copy that, and we're going to put that in the chat. Here's the chat. Here's the link to the lyric. All right, we'll post that. And we're going to say OPEN, open the WOMAN, woman thing, LESSON, open the woman thing lesson. Okay, good. All right. Say, boys and girls, thanks for joining, Portia. I see you're there. That's cool. Now, let us once again go back to the smaller size so I can see what I'm doing. Here we go. And then we'll go to the internet again. No, we're going to go to this. There we go. Hey, there we are. Woo, man, that was a thing. That was a thing. Now, let me go to, let's see, the Word doc. How are we doing here? Okay, veterans can apply. Okay, so what I need you guys to do is go to that link over there. It's actually over, well, I don't know, wherever you put yours, and open that link that says, see what the exact wording is, but I think it's what's the exact wording? Let's see. Woman thing lesson. Doc with an X. Woman thing lesson, yeah. That's what we want. And I want you to open that up, because that's what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about how the rewriting process is far more important than the original writing that you do. In some cases, obviously, there's cases when, you know, you're lucky enough to nail it right off the bat. But I thought it'd be an interesting learning tool for you guys and gals to see all the trouble I went through to get a really good song. All right? Excuse me just 1 minute. I'll be right back. Don't go anywhere. Stay right there. Hey, boys and girls. Would you be my neighbor? All right. Thank you for your patience. This could be fun. It could be horrible. Either way, we're going to do it. We're just going to plow into this. Let's see. The original. I was given the task of setting up some co-writing sessions with a fabulous young artist from Canada named Jake Matthews. And some of you actually may know him. Let's see, we got donate. Okay, here's the link to the lyric. Okay, all right, good. Just making sure we don't have any new messages. In around 1997, I got the opportunity to write and to set up a bunch of writing sessions with an artist named Jake Matthews. And one of the writers that I was super lucky to write with Jake, was a guy named Red Lane. Now, Red Lane, if you look him up on Wikipedia or just look him up on the internet, I don't know if he's on Wikipedia. He should be. He's one of the greatest country songwriters that ever lived. He wrote with Merle Haggard. He wrote with Harlan Howard. He wrote so many unbelievably fantastic songs. He had one of my very favorite songs, if not my very favorite song from Tammy Wynette, is Till I Get It Right, and that was a Red Lane song. The guy was freaking crazy amazing. He has passed away now, unfortunately. When I got to see him, when Jake and I went out to his house, he lived way out in the country, out towards Clarksville. And, all right. OEF 5 Outlaw, welcome aboard, and thanks for the emoji. Appreciate it. Oh, there we go, another emoji. Thank you there. Hosting one viewer. Okay, good. Thanks for coming aboard. We were just talking about Red Lane, meeting Red Lane for the first time in 1997. Me and Jake Matthews, an artist from Canada. So we're driving out in the middle of the country, in the middle of nowhere, and we finally turned down this dirt road, and suddenly there's this long stretch of grass that's flat. And so we're driving along this long stretch. There's woods on one side, and then there's this long stretch of grass on the other side, and we're driving along, and suddenly in the distance, I see a barn. Well, in that barn is a biplane, a yellow biplane. Turns out that Red Lane likes to fly, and he flew that biplane. And that long stretch of grass was actually his little takeoff and landing strip. So I see the barn, and I'm going, but where's the house? And I look below the barn in the woods, and sitting in the woods, just a little ways from the barn, is a DC-9 aeroplane. You heard me right. A DC-9 passenger jet airplane in the woods. That's where he lived. He lived in a DC-9 airplane in the woods. With great difficulty, he had it shipped out there, and he had to put it on concrete blocks, and it was actually registered. DC, what company was that? It wasn't. Who makes the DC? Douglas. D stands for Douglas, and C stands for, I guess, corporation. Douglas. D. Anyway, it was registered with Douglas. He had bought it legitimately from them, and he just bought the shell. But it still had the cockpit with all the stuff in it. Of course, none of it worked. And all the actual, the back, the stuff that, all the dials were there, but there was nothing behind the dials. But it looked like a real cockpit with all the switches and things. And the switches were still there, but there was actually, it wouldn't do anything. But it looked like they would. I mean, everything was intact. So this is our meeting of Red Lane, right? The next thing we find out about Red Lane is that he's a super duper nice guy. He takes us on a tour of the plane. When we walk in, there's a sitting area, and that's in the back of the plane. Now we're going to go forward. From the back of the plane, the sitting area, living room, we go to a kitchen, and then we go to a series of bedrooms. And then finally, his little studio was where? In the cockpit. Pretty cool. Huh? So you're sitting in the cockpit playing, and you got a little recorder. I mean, this is 97, so things were, I think he had a cassette recorder in there or something. Anyway, pretty funny. So he invites us to sit down, after he shows us a tour, we sit down and in his setting room, and he always played classical guitar, and he always played in drop D. He wrote all his songs in drop D, so guess what? We're going to write today in drop D. So in order to create that, I'm going to do a drop D here. Now my guitar is tuned down a whole step. So in order to make it a normal tuning, I had to put the capo on. So don't let the capo fool you. Don't let the capo fool you. You ain't going nowhere. Okay. So now I'm going to drop the D down. He did everything in drop D. So there's your drop D, right? And so I'd never played in drop D, so I'm just kind of trying to figure it out. So Red Lang was a very cool guy when he wrote. He was very sort of free-flowing, whatever pops into your head was wonderful. And he wasn't very organized. And so I had this idea on the way out there. And the idea was the woman thing, because I'd heard that expression before. So Red said, yeah, that's a great idea. Let's write the woman thing. And so the first thing we wanted to do was, obviously, the first verse, the setup, right? We want to set up, what are we going to say about the woman thing? So we have two choices. All right, we have two choices. Let me, before we get too far into this, let me get the, where's the pointer? There it is. I want to get this document up here. Let's see. I want to see lesson. Okay, good. And then we'll erase this one. We don't need this one anymore. We'll close that one. And we're just going to leave that open so I can tell where we are. And I will make this smaller. Come on, make it smaller. And so I can go back and forth. Let me see, can I, yeah, okay, good, good. Now, for those of you who just joined, way up on this list, on the chat list, you'll see at the very top, it says, here's a link to the lyric. So I want you to go to that link, and I want you to open the document that says Woman Thing Lesson. All right, Woman Thing Lesson. And and again, you can print that out if you want. You can just leave it up on your screen, whatever. But we're going to be talking about that all class. We're going to use that document. All right. So the very first thing. Across the room. Okay, good. Now, there's two ways to set this up. You can either tell a story or you can describe an emotion. So the first thing we asked ourselves is, what do we mean by the woman thing? We mean that women know stuff that men don't know. Okay? So we're thinking, okay, because we're country, right? We're probably going to do a like some physical writing. We're gonna do a story. Let's try a story first. And so we're all brainstorming. Me and Jake and Red Lane. We're all sitting around. Jake Matthews, the artist from Canada, and we're sitting around just kind of talking. And Red's, I've got it tuned to drop D. And he loved to write ballads, so, I'm not going to tell Red Lane what to do, right? I mean, he was clearly the alpha dog in the room. So whatever he wanted, we were going to do. Because, I mean, this guy's a super legend. I mean, super legend. So we're thinking, well, we're brainstorming, like, the first time, like, let's say you're a teenager and the first time you experience the woman thing, okay? So you're thinking, like, I can see this gal from across the room. I was just 14 or 15 maybe, and I thought, maybe I was pretty scared of that woman thing at first. So we started singing, or I started singing actually, da 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 da, and Red went like, from across the room, da 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 da, I could feel her eyes, and then Red said, keep going, da 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 da, and then Red said, keep going. And I went, da da da, da 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 da, and then Red said, keep going, and I'm going, oh, da 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 da. See, I'm going up, da 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 da, 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 da 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 da. He said, keep going, da 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 da, da 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 da. And then we can, she says, okay, now drop it down. Na 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 na. Na 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 na. Na 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 na. That's the woman thing. So we had this build. Na 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 na. Na 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 na. Had to bring it back down. Da 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 da, the woman thing, right? So that's a lot of stuff, but we decided, obviously, there's only two formats we can put this in: a chorus or non-chorus. So because he had encouraged me to keep singing, na 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 na. I'm thinking, wow, this is definitely probably going to be a non-chorus song because that's a really long verse, right? And it has a real crescendo-y thing, right? So we're thinking, oh, okay, so this is a non-chorus song, and we're going to do the setup. So let me put this out here. From across the room, I could feel her eyes. She's got a way about her. I was just 13. I thought I knew it all. But I was just a kid, and I was scared to death. I was scared to death. Of the woman thing. And then from there, now understand this is the first write. This is only the first write. And as you can see, if you've opened this document, there's 10 versions of this song, 10 rewrites. And the reason for that was, I'll just tell you that up front, is you know when you have the feeling that you've got a really great song on your hands? Well, that's how I felt about this title that I found on the way to Red Lane's house. I got this title, The Woman Thing, and it just rang, something about it just rang true. I'm water loading, so I'm singing a little. It's a little earlier in the day than I normally sing, but hey, we're gonna just plow through it. So the first one was a setup, right? From across the room, he sees that I was just 13. I thought I knew it all, but that was all. Oh, I see. I was going to go, but that was all in my mind. You know, that was just in my mind, and I was scared to death of the woman thing. And then, okay, so we have this setup, and then the next thing we thought was, that's the first introduction to the woman thing. So now Red goes, she's forever young, an old soul. She's got a real good heart. And when things go wrong, and we start riffing on this, she can turn it around and make it all right. Though I'll never understand. And then quite how she does. Red didn't like the quite how she does. He wanted to just go, though I'll never understand. Understand, and just leave it blank. But Jake and I thought, the woman thing, and so we said, well, we'll just leave that. Maybe we do quite how she does, or maybe we don't. He liked the tension of the space there, and then we needed a bridge, so. I don't remember who came up with these chords, but she absolutely knows her man. And then we came up with some weird chords, which I never could quite get. But later on, I came up with she absolutely knows her man, like she knows me like I never will or ever could. And then, so we're still trying to iron that out. That's not real smooth yet. That was. That's the 6 minor. Oh no, that's the 3 minor. 3 minor to the 6 minor. Walk down. That's a sharp 5, a major 7th. Na 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 na, and that's the 5, 7. Da na 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 na, back to the D, back to the 1. So da 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 da. Now we want to go into, let's go into, we talked earlier about past, present, and future, how the emotional history is a great place to tap into if you're finding yourself stuck a little bit and you want to expand a lyric. There's nothing better than going to the emotional history of a song, the emotional timeline. And so we tried, why don't we just say, whenever I do this, she thinks this. So I said, when I wake up in the middle of the night, I reach for her. I know she's there. And again, we're all contributing this. 'Cause deep down in her heart of hearts, she knows that I could never, never, never leave without her. That's the woman thing. That's the woman thing. And then I said, God bless the woman thing. And the reason why we said God bless the woman thing was because it occurred to me, and probably to all of us, as we're writing this, we're going, the woman thing could be a negative. That's just a woman thing. Don't listen to her, it's just a woman thing. So that was kind of a red flag. And we kind of figured that out towards the end of the first write. And we got together 3 times on this song, okay? So that was the first day. Now we're going to move to the second write. We still have that long. We still got 2 verses that are equally long. From across the room, I could feel her eyes. She got a way about her. Let's see, is there any change in this one? The only thing, let's see. Let me just see if I changed anything. We did change the first verse. We went from across the room. I could feel her eyes. Hey guys, glad to have you aboard. We're showing how a song goes through all the different many rewrites, right? Many rewrites. And this song in particular had 10 rewrites. And so I thought today would be a good day to show you how determined we were, and in the end, how I was, to make this song as good as it can be. And how the relentless pursuit of the best it can be just never ends, right? Never ends. And so here's version number 2, where we said, from across the room, I could feel her eyes. She got a way about her. That's all her own. She stands on love, and she always will. She believes in me and everything she does, and what I'm dreaming of, a woman thing. And then we went again. She's forever young and old soul. That did not change. She's a real good heart. Things go wrong, turn it around, make it all right. And though I never quite understand quite how she does the woman thing. Now, on the second write, I said to Red, I said, "Hey, Red, this song, it doesn't rhyme yet." And he said a very classic thing. He said, "Well, let's not worry about the rhyme right now. Let's just keep it open. Let's just keep it open." And I thought, wow, how interesting. Here's this super duper legend of a songwriter, and he's just saying keep it open. So I'm thinking to myself, oh, okay, we'll rhyme this later. We'll just figure out how to rhyme it later, right? Now let's see, did we change? Oh yeah, and then in the second version, we changed. When I wake up in the middle of the night, I know she's there. I can smell her perfume, as opposed to I reach for her. I know she's there. I say, I know she's there. I can smell her perfume. I was trying to get more visceral, more sensory stuff in there. And down deep in her heart of hearts, I know I could never live without her. Deep in my heart of hearts, right? I know I never could live without her. I can never live without the woman thing, right? So the first verse changed to where, I'm trying to get more emotional. We're trying to get more emotional. From across the room, I could feel her eyes. She's got a way about her that's all her own. She stands on love. So we're trying to define, what is this woman thing? What is it? And she stands on love. She always will. She believes in me and everything she does. So as you can see, we bailed out on the physical details, and right away we got into the emotional writing, right? So later on we realized, that's probably not going to work. There's not enough setup, right? There's not enough setup. So so now we move to version 3. Let's go. Let me make sure we're on the same page, because I put this thing together. Oops, got a little ink on my link on my pants. I better be careful. Let me just check here. Woman thing 1, 2 from across the room, 3 she stands on love. Let's see where that one is. Hold on. Okay, here's this one. Okay. Okay, now on this version, we decided on this rewrite, we thought, you know what? Let's just make it. Let's open with some emotion. So we changed it to, she stands on love. She always will. She's got a way about her that's all her own. From across the room, I could feel the presence of the woman thing. So we put in a little physical writing there. From across the room, I could feel the presence of a woman thing. And then we didn't change the second verse. And in the third verse, we went back to, I reach for her, I know she's there. There's something about that emotional pull, like I trust her. There was we really like the idea that I reach for her, I know she's there. It's that trust in the woman. That's part of the woman thing, is you can trust that she's always going to be there. And this is, again, we're talking prototypical women qualities. When we write songs, this is a little aside, but when we write songs, we're writing from a real place, from a place that feels true and real to you in the real world. However, I like to call this world Songland, or you can call it Songtown, right? And in Songtown, things are real, just like in real life, but there's some other things that are not real. And that is, everybody in Songtown that's in the songs is a prototype of the kind of character you're talking about. So In country songs, the characters in the song are prototypes of country people. So we have to take all the country people throughout the West and the South, and of course up north too, but we affiliate most country listeners from the South and the West. We're going to take all those male listeners and blend them into one person, and all the female and blend them into one person. Prototypes, all right? To give you an example, what I'm talking about is, like, in real life, hey, do men do dishes? Do men mop floors? Yeah, of course they do. I do dishes. I mop floors. But in a song, the prototypical male does not do those things. It would seem weird that would be something. And again, this is back in the 80s and 90s. Today, things have changed quite a bit. The prototype male and female has changed quite a bit. Although I still don't think men would wash dishes necessarily, but women have changed. They're no longer household. They no longer wait for their man to come home from work, right? They have woman power, and it's quite noticeable. And thank goodness for that, because we want women to have equal power, right? I mean, this is what we want: men and women to be sharing the responsibilities and sharing the alpha power, alpha beta, back and forth, and also women. They're working now, and women can tell a guy to go screw yourself, stuff like that. Whereas before it was always stand by your man and all that stuff. Well, that's changed. Anyway, to get back to our story, I was talking about the prototypical male and female, and so we're trying to describe this woman. She stands on love. She always will. She's got a way about her that's all her own. From across the room, I could feel the presence of the woman thing, right? She's forever young, an old soul. Oh yeah, we were talking about trust. That's right, in the third verse. I wake up in the middle of the night. I reach for her. I know she's there. Because we assume that back then, men were sort of flaky and were prone to maybe cheating a little bit, and then coming back and throwing themselves at the feet of the woman, going, please forgive me, take me back. And the woman was the steadfast, trustworthy person that would stay with the guy and tolerate a whole bunch of stuff until she finally said, I'm done with you. And then when a woman left, back in the old days, when a woman left a guy, the chances were pretty good that she was not coming back, because the woman tolerated a lot of stuff. Now, again, that's changed now. But still, the prototypical female will put up with a lot more. They're not flaky. Women are not flaky in country music. Men are flaky and drifty, and they're sort of the wanderers, if you will. Okay? All right, so that's why I thought it would be a good idea, or we thought it would be a good idea to go back to I Reach for Her, right? And so now we have, now in version number 3, we have this, we did a lot of, the other thing about version 3 is, check this out. So the first two verses were da 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 and then one of us, during the third write, we thought, maybe that first verse is too long. So we came up with a shorter version for the first verse. So this is the shorter version with the lyric. She stands on love, she always will. She's got a way about her that's all her own. And from across the room, I felt the presence of the woman thing. See how I didn't go to the soaring? Now we save the soaring part for the second verse. She's forever young, an old soul. She's got a real good heart. And when things go wrong, she can turn it around and make it all right. There's the soaring, all right. Though I never understand quite how she does the woman thing. All right. Or on this one I went, all right, though I don't know how she does. Oh yeah, we combined the two. We combined where I'll never understand quite how she does was the second version. And in this one, we went, though I don't know how she does. And then we're going to leave the space because Red Lane loved the space. The woman thing, so it would go, make it all right, though I don't know how she does. Space. The woman thing. All right? All right. So now that was version 3. Version 4. And we did this kind of over the phone. We were talking back and forth, and at this point, we were hooked up with email also. So we decided on version 4 that we should go back to a setup, an image for the setup, a physical scene to set it up rather than just going straight to the emotions, right? So as you can see, we're struggling with this first verse, right? So we changed it to, I remember that night was like yesterday. I was just 19. Now we decided from 19, and again, we're toying with 16, 14, 15. She was just 19. Let's see, let me try it again. I remember that night like it was yesterday. I was just 19. Thought I knew it all until I crossed that room and felt the presence of the woman thing. And at this point, we decided that this is how it's going to go. And and we changed the bridge. She absolutely understands me like I never could or ever will. Again, notice there's no rhyme. And that went from she absolutely knows her man. She knows me like I never will or ever could. So now we've cleaned it up a little bit. It's not as wordy. We cut some words out. I remember Red Lane said, and also Harlan Howard, the famous writer Harlan Howard, I got to sit in his booth at Maud's Courtyard a couple of times, and it was really quite a treat. And one of the things I remember he said, because he would hold court and give advice to the young songwriters, and one of the things he says, if you can cut anything out, cut it out. Take it out. He said, intensify, simplify. Intensify and simplify. And keep it real. Intensify and simplify. Well, it turns out, I think he got that from Ernest Hemingway. And maybe somebody says, say hello when you jump in. Okay. Let's see. We got Mr. 2. We got oh, there we go. Let's see. We got some new people joining us here. Yeah, okay. We've got Mr. 2. Thanks for joining, Mr. 2. We got Key-Ray or K-Ray. Key-Ray. Good to see you. And Hypebot and K-Ray again. Say hello when you jump in, guys. Okay. Good. All right. Let's see. Thank you all for being here. We're going over a song. I picked this particular song to go over how I wrote it with Red Lane, famous, super famous writer, and Jake Matthews, wonderful country artist from Canada, and he's still going strong up there in Canada. You can get all these lyrics if you go to the top of this chat page. You can download. You can go to my folder and download Woman Thing Lesson, and we're now on 4. Okay, we're moving along. We're on 4. I remember that night like it was yesterday. I was just 19, thought I knew it all, till I crossed that room and felt the presence of the woman thing. Okay, now at this point I'm singing this song out, right? And there's a couple of flaws still. Notice how we jump. Well, first of all, it still sounds like I'm talking about the woman thing. I felt the presence of the woman thing. There's still that feeling like that woman thing could be negative, and but I still was playing it out, trying it out for size. Let's see, anything else changed? I reach for her. I know she's there. Okay, good. So that was version number 4, and now let's check out version number 5. Let's see where we're going with this. 3 and then 4. I remember that night, so we got into that. We got back into the physical thing, and version 6 is it's a woman thing. She stands on love. She's got a way about her that's all her own. From across the room, I can feel her and believes in everything she does. Okay, we changed. We went back to it's a woman thing. She stands on love. She's got a way about her that's all her own. From across the room, I can feel her eyes. She believes in me and everything she does. And I did this. This is an interesting switch on stuff. What I did was, I did one of these crossovers where I ended the first verse. Notice I took out the woman thing because, again, I was still worried about the possibility that it could be negative. So I was saying, she believes in me and everything she does. And then the next verse opens with, is a woman thing, forever young. She's an old soul. She's got a real good heart. And when things go wrong, she can make it all right. Though I'll never understand quite how she does. We did that. And notice we're repeating everything she does in the end of the first verse. And then at the end of the second verse, quite how she does. So that was destined to be rewritten again. And again, I breathe her perfume in the last verse now. I wake up in the middle of the night because, I don't like the word smell. It's not a happy word, smell. So I breathe her perfume. Down deep in my heart of hearts, I know that I could never live without her. Woman thing, right? So at this point, we went back. Now, at this point, I'm actually rewriting this on my own because now I'm going to tell you that probably a year has gone by, and Jake ended up not cutting this song on his album. He did cut some of the songs that we co-wrote. I think he cut 2 or 3. We wrote 6, but the woman thing wasn't quite finished. It never quite felt right. But I decided I'm determined to make this thing work, right? Again, the quest, I just had this feeling down deep. There's something not right about this song, but I know it's a great song. I know it's a great song. I just can't figure out how to make this thing right? So now, that was 5. And number 6, well, then we come to the brainstorming. I was brainstorming one day, just kind of free writing, and I can give you, I can briefly give you a free writing exercise at the end of this to help you out, you guys and gals. I'll go over it real briefly, but right now I want to plow through this first because this is really cool. I think we're about 2, maybe even 3 years. I'd been singing it. I'd been singing one of the versions, either version 4 or 5. I've been singing for quite some time out because I really like this song. Now, I was brainstorming one day. I think it was pretty much 2.5 years into this thing. And again, at this point, it's just me because Red Lane and Jake had given up on it. Or they hadn't given up. They just moved on. I was brainstorming. I was going, let me think. I asked her why. She's forgiven me with no questions asked. I could feel her eyes as she said to me, it's a woman thing. And then went, wait a minute. You know how light bulbs go off? And I went, whoa. When she said to me, it's a woman thing. And then I was still brainstorming. I could feel her eyes as she said to me, it's a woman thing. When the dreams went south, when the dreams got old, I was trying different beginnings of lines, or the blank, 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 and my blank, 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 for blank, 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 in blank, was trying all these different things. I asked her why she's forgiven me with a gentle touch. You know, I asked her why she's forgiven me with a gentle touch that's all her own. She held my hand as she softly said, it's a woman thing. And I just went, holy crapola. This is it. This is it. This is it. This is it. And then it just seemed like that's the answer. That is the way to get it off. The harm, the potentially negative thing is to have her say it first in the song. So we talked about the 5, the creative process. Remember we talked about that? The steps of the creative process are the 5 steps of the creative process. Step 1 is an inspiration. And the inspiration can be anything. It can be a bit of a melody. It can be a bit of a lyric. It can be a chord pattern. Like that chord pattern could actually start a song going, right? And I went to the 5 minor that time. Did you notice? My J45 Studio with the cutaway. This is the mahogany version. It has a smaller back. The back here is thinner. It's not as thick. The original version was about that thick. This is a good inch thinner, so it's got a lot of mid-range instead. I love this guitar. It's just so Bruce Springsteen. It's got the Boss, This guitar tells me what to do. Anyway, so inspiration with Mike Gibson. The second thing is saturation, where you just really, really, really work on this inspiration. You work on that inspiration until you're literally worn out. The stories that I heard from Eric Clapton and some of these people say they would write and they would practice their guitar until they literally fell asleep practicing and writing their songs. They would saturate. So they didn't want to lose that moment. And so they wring everything out of that moment you could wring, right? And the third is incubation, where you get away from it. You get away from it as far away as you can. But it's incubating all the time because, hey, we're songwriters. So we're incubating. We can't get away from it, but we try to get away, and we try to get away as far as we can. So we try to really separate the writing from the not writing. A wide gap. And it's that gap that creates those aha moments where you go, and the aha moment is the fourth thing. It's when you get that illumination, where suddenly the song just explodes in correctness. And at that point, the song writes you. You no longer write the song. You're now, the song's in charge of you, and the song writes you. All right? And then the fifth thing is validation. You want to validate that that illumination was a good one. And the reason for that is it's been discovered and it's been known that sometimes the mystery, the creative process, the thing that flows through us, that mysterious creativity, imagination, sometimes leads us down a false trail. And they say that's to test your mettle, to see if do you really want to do this? You sure you really want to do this? And I say, Firkin A, I want to do this. And I'm going to keep going, and nothing's going to stop me. Well, at this point, this was the illumination moment when I realized, oh my golly. If I have the woman say it first, bam, we're done. So this was my first attempt. My first attempt on that was version number 6, was it's a woman thing. That's what she said. When I asked her how she knew my name from across the room, I could feel her eyes. At 15 years old, it's hard to say. Now, again, you can see that the lyric is long, so I decided once again to get into the, can we move that? Can we move it a little bit? There we go. That we decided to go back to the long first verse rather than the short first verse, okay? And then notice that I kept going because I was worried about, wait a minute, she's forever young. I was worried about the leap. I call this the leap of faith, where, like, and this is a great example of a leap of faith, where the version, if you remember, the version number 5 is I got rid of the leap in version number 5. It's a woman thing, she stands on love. Where the leap was in version 4. I remember that night like it was yesterday. I was just 19, thought I knew it all, right? So we have a setup where he's 19, but then never again do we return. We have a leap of faith. We're just going to hope that you go with us on this leap to where she's forever young. She's an old soul. She's got a real good heart. When things go wrong, she can turn them around. So notice that we didn't have any more, like, I saw her again when I was 21. In other words, we didn't continue the story. we went into all this emotion, right? And so I tried to solve that with version number 5. I just went all emotion, right? And then version number 6 is, I'm so excited because version number 6 was the first time I had her saying it first. And I knew at that point that we'd solved the riddle of it could mean a bad thing. The woman thing could mean a bad thing. But it's not, because she said it first. So now I'm thinking, I don't know about that leap of faith. Let's try for the second verse. No more little girl. She's got a way about her that's all her own. So I'm trying to move it forward. I'm trying to have what we would call a transition line, going from 19 into she's grown up now. So that's why no more little girl. She's got a way about her that's all her own. I remember how it hurt so bad the moment that she left the room or even turn away. I couldn't measure up to the woman thing. All right? That was that. And then I did some major rewriting on the bridge. She looks at me and made me live like I never will again. She knew exactly where I live, a place I've never been without her or ever could. And so that was quite a bit longer bridge. And then I wake up in the middle of the night, I reach for her, I know she's there, but deep in my heart, so that hadn't changed. So now I realized, no, that's too long. Let's go back to let's keep it simpler, rather than saying it's a woman thing, it's what she said when I asked her how. Let's go back. I remember that night we fell in love. She knew right away when I asked her how she could be so sure. She just smiled and said, it's a woman thing. And I went, wow, that is so good. And so I started singing it that way. She's forever. And then I went and I said, I think the leap is going to work okay. Because I say, I remember that night we fell in love. All right? And it still was, it wasn't bouncing really well, but I could tell the song was already written. I've already fixed it. And you notice that I went back in the bridge, I went back to, but she absolutely understands me like I never could or ever will, right? And then, and again, the third verse, I reach for her. She knows I know she's there, all right? Okay. And again, this is, okay, well, we're going to move on now. I remember that night, it still wasn't really singing quite right. And then on version number 8, and now we're 3 years into this song, 3 years into it. And now it opens, she knew right away the night we met. She knew right away the night we met that we could fall in love. Now, it sounds now like it's recalling back. I really loved this rewrite because now it sounds, she knew right away the night we met, meaning we're not back there. We're talking about this from the present moment, right? She knew right away the night we met that we would fall in love. And when I asked her how she could be so sure, she just smiled and said, it's a woman thing. And I went, that's it. That is absolutely it. Because now we're not worried about the leap of faith anymore. Because we're coming from a position of the present moment by saying she knew right away the night we met that we would fall in love, meaning I'm thinking back to that from this place where I'm singing. She's forever young, an old soul, got a real good heart. When things go wrong, she can turn them around and make them all right. Though I'll never understand, I don't know how she does the woman thing. Okay, now, the third verse. She can read my mind. She loves me anyway. She can find my truth living in the wind. But deep in my heart of hearts, I know I could never live without her. No, I know, it's all about her woman thing. And she knew right away, the night we met, that we would fall in love. Oh, what just happened there? So you can see now, things are really tightening up here. This is really, really tightening up. I'm very, very excited about this song now, right? I realize, wow, I love that I closed the song by repeating a bit of the first verse. And that's called a circular plot, okay? When it circles back around. That was very popular in the early 2000s. A lot of country songs circle back around. One of the most famous ones is the song The Ghetto by Elvis Presley. It opens, once upon a time, there was a boy born in the ghetto. And then the song ends with, once upon a time in the song, another child is born in the ghetto. Because if you recall in that song, the boy grows up to be a teenager and he ends up getting killed. But so the tragedy is going back to the first verse and reminding everyone, oh my God, this is going to happen again in this ghetto. It's not going to stop. It's just going to keep happening. So it was very, very poignant to circle back to that first verse, to remind people of where it all started. And so that's why I thought it was really great to circle back. She knew right away the night we met that we would fall in love. Now, once again, I'm concerned. Let me see. Do we have any? No comments. Okay, good. I still had that little feeling about, I know it's all about her woman thing. I still had this feeling there, like, I don't know. So then we come to version 9. She knew right away the night we met that we would fall in love. Is there another one after this? No, version 9 is the last one. Okay. All right. So you'll notice that everything is pretty much the same. Oh, I changed the third verse a little bit. She reads my mind. She loves me anyway. She knows my dreams. I didn't like the word, she knows my truth. The truth sounded a little too poetic-y for a good old boy to say, she knows my truth. That's a little too sort of yuppie north from somebody from Boston. It didn't sound like somebody from the South, and this is a country song. So again, we want to learn the genre of the audience that we're writing for. So I'm learning country language, and I'm constantly learning it because I'm from the South Boston, right? So I had to learn the language of country. I had to learn the language of good old boys and good old gals, right? And so I think dreams is better than truth. She knows my dreams are leaving on the wind. But deep in my heart of hearts, I know I could never live without her. I could never live without her, and I know I could never live without her. She knew right away the night we met that we would fall in love. Did you notice that I took out the woman thing? I took it out. Now, before I sing this, I'm going to sing the final version. But before we do that, because I've been water loading, I have to use the lavatory really quickly. I'll be right back. All right? Just stay where you are. Don't move. Ta-da! That wasn't so bad, was it? Okay, that wasn't so bad. Let's see. I never thought of songwriting, but recently started creative. Oh, good, good, Todd. I'm glad to hear that. Glad to hear that. Yeah. Over the days, I'm doing this every Tuesday and Friday at 1. We talk about little excerpts of the songwriting process and kind of freestyling it. I also teach a class at Vanderbilt, and that's a more structured class, and we go through all the points very, very structurally, and we assign homework, which is all songwriting homework, songwriting and creative writing. So we do both, and we write about all kinds of stuff, but we try to steer ourselves into writing about our experiences, our war experiences, our military experiences. Converting from we're converting from the hold on, I'll get it. From the soldier mentality into the artistic mentality, right? So that's what we're trying to do with this. And I'm going to show you how to journal at the end of this process. But first I wanted to show you this song. I wanted to show you this finished song. All right. Disregard this capo. My guitar is tuned to low D, so I had to tune it up to the original. When I wrote the song, I hadn't been tuning my guitar down, so it was in normal tuning in E. But what we did was, because Red Lane always played in drop D, Red Lane was the co-writer on this, and so we let him decide how to play and what to do. And so we all played in drop D to write the song. And there's the D. So this is drop D. I tuned it down to a drop D. So normally it would just be right here. This wouldn't be here, right? And just tune it down. So that's if you want to. And we came up with this lovely little nice little, we got this little lick. She knew right away the night we met that we would fall in love. And when I asked her how she could be so sure, she just smiled and said, "It's a woman thing. She's forever young. And oh, so she's got a real good heart. And when things go wrong, she could turn it around and make it all right. Though I'll never understand quite how she does the woman thing. But she absolutely understands me like I never could, or ever will. See, what's the, let me get the lyric here. Oh yeah, she reads my mind She loves me anyway. She knows my dreams are leaving on the wind, but deep in my heart of hearts, I know that I could never, never, never leave without her. Yes, I know, I know, I know, it's all about her. She knew right away the night we met that we would fall in love. And there you are. Great song. I love that song. I thought, you know, it's really worth all that effort on all those 9 rewrites. Now, of course, I don't rewrite that much, you know, on a lot of songs. But on this particular one, I wanted to show you how I was relentless in my pursuit of, you know, the best it could be. And I thought at this point, I didn't even say the woman thing at the end of the song, because it's understood at this point, you know. And I thought, there's no way people are going to think negative thoughts about the woman thing, you know, from this song, okay? Now, we talked a little bit about the creative process, so I'll give you really quickly the creative art exercise called the art exercise. And once again, you can watch this video, or when I'm done, you can watch it on YouTube or on the CreatiVets channel. So I'm going to go through this quickly, because we've already said this once before, but for those people that are new, I just want to give you a creative exercise that you can do every day, because one of the ways we talk about songwriting is a very mysterious process, and most of what we need to be great songwriters, most of what we need is mysterious. And I call that intuition. But here's the deal. We can increase, we can hone our intuition, our intuitive process. I call it your professional intuition, your PI levels. We can bring our PI levels up by doing several things. Learning other people's songs that we love, reading great literature and poetry, doing creative exercises every day, or writing every day. Songwriting's fine, but even if you're not writing a song, you should write every day creatively, which is what I'm going to give you now. And the next thing is you want to get critique from an expert as you're writing, so that you can kick your level up, so you can know what professionals think. All right. Now here's one exercise. There's many exercises to kick in your creative process, but here's one of them, and I call it the art exercise. ART. Right. That stands for Artist Restoration Training. So you're retraining every time you do this exercise. You're retraining yourself to be an artist, right? Because sometimes we forget that we're artists. Well, this exercise will get you back into artistry, all right? Now, anytime you write, it's a good thing. There are no wrong ways to write, but there's better ways to write to tap into your creative process. The art exercise has rules that you can follow or not follow, but if you follow them, you will get the most out of this one exercise. There's, like I said, there's many more. The first rule is to keep writing no matter what. And if you run out of things to say, just say nothing, nothing, nothing. But because the human brain is so complex and interesting, it won't last but maybe 3 nothings before you're off on thinking something else. So that's rule number 1, is to keep writing. Rule number 2 is to time it, right? We want to time it because of rule number 3. Rule number 3 is to go deep. So let's go back to rule number 1. Rule number 1, because I told you to keep writing, no matter what, just keep your pen moving, you're going to sometimes write only words or phrases. You won't write complete sentences. Sometimes you will, sometimes you won't. But what you're trying to do is get as close to the present moment as you can. Get as close to the future, if you will. Get as close to the future that you can, right? You got my drift? So, so that as you're writing, you're feeling some energy coming along, right? And when you feel that depth, you feel something deep happening, steer into that deep thing. We want to try to get away from the shallow thoughts that we have. We live in a shallow world, people. We don't live in a deep world because we couldn't do it. You know, we have to be polite and courteous, and we have to do things in a certain order. And so our life, for the most part, is fairly boring, fairly mundane. We don't want to live in this extreme, you know. But in this exercise, we are looking for that. We're looking for extremes. We're looking for depth. Depth either happy or depth sad. You can go either way. Smiley face or sad face. Whatever depth you're feeling, dive into it. Get into it, right? All right, that's the third. We want to go deep. And that's why we time it. Because we want you to be able to do this exercise every day. Preferably at the beginning of the day. Why? Because if you do this after you wake up, maybe make coffee, the rest of the day you feel like an artist. You feel like a songwriter because you've done this art exercise at the very beginning. Time it for 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 20 minutes. The longer you time it, the better, because you get past your blockades. We all have little blockades, mental blockades, but if we write a little longer, like 15 is better than 10, 20 is better than 15. After that, you know, you can write longer, but I want you to do it every day. So I think 20 minutes is a good limit for doing it every day, unless of course you're retired and you got nothing else. You could do it 30 minutes a day if you wanted. Okay, so that's why we want you to time it, because we want you to go deep quickly. So if you know it's timed and you know the clock's ticking, you know, you're going to look for that depth a lot faster. Okay, so 3 is go deep. 4 is the no rule. No rhyming on purpose. Of course, you'll rhyme some because that's just what we do. But don't rhyme on purpose, and don't do line rhythms on purpose. Like, for instance, da 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 ba ba da ba da da ba da ba da da da. But no, we're not doing that. We want you to. It's a freestyle prose. We're not writing a song. We're only writing content. So just let it flow. Don't be thinking of line rhythm, because why? The other thing in the no is no editing. And when you're going, that's editing. Your brain is trying to figure out how to make it bounce. Forget about the bounce. Just get stuff into the real world. Get words out. From here, from there, get it on the page, right? So no editing, and also important, no judging. Everything you write in this exercise is perfect. There is no mistakes. So no editing, no going back, no crossing out. Keep going. Don't rhyme or do line rhythms on purpose. Of course, you'll end up doing a little of that because we're songwriters. But don't try to write a song in this exercise. Now, of course, I mean, what am I saying? If you start writing a song, absolutely fantastic. I would never, ever tell you not to write a song. Not ever. But the purpose of this exercise is not to write a song. If it falls into that, woo, okay, you know, go ahead and write it. Just write to your heart's content. But that's not the purpose of this exercise. The purpose is to write every day creatively. Let your creative brain go crazy. We're throwing a banquet for our creative process, for that little voice that says, do something different, do something original, try this, try that. Yeah, this is your experimental rabbit. You know, you can just write whatever you want. All right. So rule 4 is the no rule. No editing, no rhyming, no lines, rhythm, and no judgment. Right? Good. The 5th rule, this is a real important one. When you're done, I want you to go back and underline the words or phrases that you think hold some kind of importance to you. Either they sound like a line, it could be a line in a song, or it could be a title, right? Yeah. Or it's just a great word that you'd like to use in a song. What you're doing here is you're prioritizing. You're training yourself to prioritize, which is what we do all the time. You see all these pages here? This is all the rewrite we did today. I'm prioritizing. I'm throwing stuff out there, deciding that it's good or not good, right? I'm learning how to prioritize. And that's what this underlining does. It's the bottom line prioritizing process. Training ourselves to make decisions. This is good, this isn't good. This is ordinary, this is extraordinary. And that's what we want to do in this art exercise. Okay? I'll leave you with one more thing. If the buzzer goes off and you want to set that buzzer again, don't do it. No, I'm kidding. Of course, do it. Set that buzzer. Go at it again. Do it as many times as you want, right? Yeah. Another exercise, real quick, is just simply to write a song from beginning to end in 30 minutes. Set a timer and say, I'm going to write a song. I don't care how terrible it is. I don't care. It can be great. It can be horrible. But I'm going to commit to finishing a song in 30 minutes. It's so much fun. You have to finish it. That's the deal, is you have to have a verse, a chorus, bridge, chorus, or verse, bridge, verse, bridge, verse. That's a non-chorus. You can start with a chorus, verse, chorus, maybe a little bridge, and then another chorus out. That's actually the easiest way to write a 30-minute one. Another easy one to do is verse, refrain, chorus, like all you need is love, all you need is love, all you need is love, love. What an easy chorus that is. It's just one line, right? So that would cut your time down. Little tricks, right? Little tricks. Chorus first or refrain chorus. Have potential, not always, but potential for fewer words than the other forms, right? So that's another exercise that you can try. But this art exercise is just to feel your creative power every day, right? Preferably, again, at the beginning. It's really nice to start your day that way, and then you feel so good, right? And you're living your life, you're living your whole day as a songwriter, living twice. You live, and then you ask yourself, was that a song? Was that a word in a song? Was that? You don't let anything escape. Okay? Okay, brave people. I love you all. So glad you were here. And I will see you Friday. We'll have another topic. Who knows what it might be. I've been thinking about maybe talking about up-tempo positive songs and see what makes an up-tempo positive song, because I don't know if any of you guys and gals are in the business, but this is what you hear over and over and over and over and over again, is I want an up-tempo positive. And they're the hardest ones to write sometimes. And by golly, let's do that. Let's talk about that Friday. Let's talk about up-tempo positive songs and how to do it, right? Let's look into it. We'll examine some lyrics and see how they did it, okay? So now I've got homework. I got to find up-tempo positive songs, and then I have to figure out how to explain them. I'm kidding. I know how to do it. I'm a genius. I know everything. I mean, just look at his face. I know everything. Anyway. I'm just kidding. You know I am pulling your leg. I love you guys. Love you gals. And I will see you on Friday. Adios, amigos.